All right, Kennedy, you got us a huge guest, 1996 Heisman Trophy winner, all that success with Coach Spurrier there at the Florida Gators. I'll let you do the introduction for Danny Weurffel, which I just basically did.
Danny Weurffel, everybody. Need no further introduction other than the Heisman winner. I mean, it's a big guest. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thank you for joining us. So, obviously, a huge game coming up this weekend for the Florida Gators, taking on Georgia, the national champions, a team that they don't lose. Their defense is always legit, and they've been bringing it. Your thoughts as the Gators are trying to navigate through a tough stretch with Georgia coming up?
Well, there's been different times in the era of this rivalry where I was more excited about the game, to be honest. Back in the 90s, we had our way, and that was great, but this is Bulldog time right now. They are just a locked and loaded program. I think one of the premier, obviously, in the country. Florida's in a rebuilding. I'm really, really excited about our coach and where we're going, but we're not there yet. So I think as much as my heart would love to kind of pull some sort of miracle out here for the Gators, my mind reminds me that this is still Bulldog time.
What are you liking so far about Anthony Richardson's playing this year?
Well, I think everybody pretty quickly latched on to his athletic ability, his arm talent, his ability to run, and really kind of got probably overwhelmed with expectations for such a young player who really hasn't played that much. So I think some of that was put on him pretty quick, and I think that got to him a little bit. I think he's learning this Napier offense, which is a fantastic offense, but I think it's a little bit more complicated on the quarterback than other offenses in college football. So I think he's learning that, getting better every week. I really like the young man. I think he's got a huge upside. He's making progress, and I'm just really, really thrilled that he's our quarterback.
Dan, let's talk a little bit about the SEC East overall, because it feels, at least, that now they're stronger than the SEC West, what we're seeing from Tennessee, what we're seeing from Georgia, and really goes on and on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting year. I don't think many of us would have predicted a lot of these things that are happening, especially with the Tennessee movement. That's just been amazing. And then, to think that Alabama is not just always the same Alabama for the first time, seems like in years, really sort of shifts the dynamic of power. And so, yeah, it's pretty exciting. Kentucky started off strong as well. And so you just never know how this thing could unfold. It's really shaping up to be the most exciting game, being the Tennessee-Georgia game down the road a bit.
Well, they started off the year with the best recruiting class ever, and now they've got a 3-4 record. Are you surprised what's happening with Texas A&M this year?
Well, I think so. I mean, I think, Jimbo Fisher has done so well everywhere he's been, and just really good recruiting classes here. So there definitely is a surprise at this point, but man, I would never count him or them out. I think they'll probably come back strong this year. And of course, with that kind of talent, future, I think is still very bright.
Yeah, and Florida's going to be joining Texas A&M here at Kyle Field in a couple of weeks, so we may have to get you back on the show. Let's go through that magical season in '96, really just that magical run you had there with the Florida Gators. Talk about your Heisman run and also just what Coach Spurrier means to you and what that time in Florida Gator football felt like.
Well, Coach Spurrier called me the other day. He left a message. He said, "Man, Danny, our team, we're halfway through the season this year, and we've lost 3 SEC games." Talking about this year, and he goes, "Danny, you know how many games you lost in 4 years? You lost 2 SEC games in 4 years." And so, like, when you put that into perspective, sometimes I wonder if it really happened. Like, it was such a magical 4 years at Florida, and then to have the last game of my last year be the national championship game against our arch rival in Florida State. It's really hard to kind of really believe that happened, and the memories are fantastic. The friendships are still strong. Several of those guys, I mean, I stay with several friends in Gainesville, Chris Dorings, James Bates, stay in touch with a lot of my former teammates. And, Coach Spurrier just had a very ahead of the game type of offense and mentality. And I was fortunate to play with him. It changed the trajectory of Florida, probably college football, and in many ways definitely changed the trajectory of my life.
Love hearing about that. Well, Danny, you've got a big event coming up this week. Can you tell us a little bit about this Desire Cup?
Yeah, so, we like to call it the Florida-Georgia game, but I live here in Atlanta, and people here say you can't call it that. But people also ask me, why did I move to Georgia? That they're going to give me trouble. And the best I can say is at least they never gave me any trouble back in the 90s. But that's the only, you got to go back a long time to pick on Georgia now. But we put together this really fun event. It's a celebrity golf tournament. We got Florida celebs and coaches and Georgia celebs and coaches. We've been doing it for 12 years. It's been a fantastic fundraiser for Desire Street, which is the organization I've been working at really since 1997 as a rookie with the Saints. And we work in under-resourced neighborhoods all over the Southeast. And this is our big fundraiser. So we got the desirecup.com. And then we added a pickleball event. You may know pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the country. And we created a Pro-Am pickleball event where we have like the best pickleball players in the world partnering with celebrities to represent their college. It's like I'm playing with a pro pickleball player from Florida against Drew Brees and a pro pickleball player from Purdue. And we've got Matt Stinchcomb and Connor Shaw and a lot of other celebs playing. So it's going to be a great week. I'm actually getting ready to head down there not too long after we visit.
All right. Well, Danny, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. As I mentioned, when A&M and Florida meet up here soon, let's get you back on and chit-chat about that. Thanks for your time, and awesome to follow your career throughout the years, my friend.
Yeah, thanks a lot.